The NBA trade deadline is less than a week away, and I thought before the NBA turns upside down, we see multiple picks and players being moved, I'm going to do a first round mock draft on fanspo.com. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? So, for the NFL, you kind of have like PFF or the Draft Network as your mock draft websites. Well, fanspo.com is literally the best for this. This is the site that I use for the trade machine as well, and they have the most immersed mock draft system. I'll leave a link in the description below. Not sponsored or anything, like literally the dopest website out there. Like, you have the available players, you have team needs, you have their upcoming picks, you have their current roster, their salary cap, their depth chart. Like, this is actually amazing. If you press on a player, you can see their contract, you can see their general information. This site is dope. So yeah, I'm going to be going through the first round here. I'll probably do a post-NBA trade deadline mock draft either on this channel or on the second channel, so make sure you're subscribed to both. If you guys do enjoy this draft style content, feel free to drop a thumbs up. So this is pretty much where the NBA standings are at the night of February 2nd. I think you guys may be seeing this on the 4th, so the standings might look a little bit different. Now, obviously, the draft wouldn't look like this because of the lottery, but with this, we have the Orlando Magic with the #1 pick, and I think they would go Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn, just because, like, their center position, Bamba's been playing well this year, but they gave Carter Jr. that extension. They have so many guards. Fultz, Cole, Suggs. I don't think they need to really take anybody in the backcourt. So I think it will come down between the bigs of Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, and Jabari Smith. And I think Smith has been playing so well for Auburn, who are the 1 seed as I'm recording this so far. And he's been so amazing in SEC play for the Tigers this year. I think he'd be the #1 pick pretty much for any team if the draft was today. And this is pretty much what I think that these teams will do, not what I would do. I'm a big fan of Paolo Banchero. I'm a little wary on Chet Holmgren's size. He's going to be a polarizing prospect when we get closer to the draft time in June. But on the clock here, with the second overall pick, we have the Detroit Pistons. I think like Jaden Ivey would be a great backcourt partner with Cade Cunningham for the future. I think you can't really get much better than that, but I just don't see Ivy going above both Chet Holmgren and Paolo Banchero. This is a perfect time to draft a power forward or just a counterpart to Isaiah Stewart in the front court, because they're probably going to move Jeremy Grant. I think Paolo Banchero would be a little bit better of a fit next to Isaiah Stewart for the next couple of seasons. Next up, with the Houston Rockets at the 3rd overall pick. Now, I love Jaden Ivey here. I think Jaden Ivey is going to be so good and can really play the 1, the 2, possibly even the 3, who knows, at the next level. But I think they would go Chet Holmgren here. I know they took Alperen Sengun with the first round pick last year, but I think that wouldn't stop them from taking Chet Holmgren at pick 3 from Gonzaga. Get that big man depth, something they kind of lack. And who knows, like, that could just really set up their rebuild next. You can have Chet and Jalen Green in the pick and roll, kind of working off each other. I think that'd be a step in the right direction. So the OKC Thunder are on the clock here at 4. And a team that spent 2 first-round picks on guards last year in Trey Mann and Josh Giddey. They already have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't know if that, like, Ivy is so much better than Jalen Duren. I'd rather have Shaedon Sharpe than Jalen Duren. It's just, do they go the need here? Because they need big man depth desperately. So this is going to be kind of a predicament that I think I'm going to run into come draft time, because I'd rather have Ivy. I'd rather have Shaedon Sharpe, who just reclassed. But I think, like, I don't know if they add onto these guards, because you kind of have Giddey and Shai as your backcourt for the future. You don't really need to mess that up so much. I think it would hurt Ivy's development. I think we could also see them maybe be a trade down candidate here, or especially a trade up candidate if teams like Detroit, Houston, or Orlando, or any other team that maybe jumps up to the top 3 during the lottery could want to acquire more picks for the future. We know the Thunder have, they have their pick. They have the Clippers pick if they, I think it's something to play with, but it might be unprotected this year from the Paul George trade. They also have the Suns first round pick from the Chris Paul trade, so they could definitely package a bunch of those. I think they would go Jalen Duren here. I personally wouldn't, but like, it's a tough position for the Thunder in this case due to their lack of big man depth. Like, I don't think Bazley is a long-term fit. Pukajevsky, Jamar Robinson are all, they could be solid players one day. I just don't know if they can ever be a franchise piece. Jalen Duren, not the biggest fan of, but I think, like, he's good enough there where I wouldn't regret it completely. Oh, man. And we have the Kings up next. So I think if they were in this position, I don't think you make a risky move and take Keegan Murray here, who's a great prospect, don't get me wrong. I think you go Jaden Ivey. You have him and Halliburton in the backcourt. Davion Mitchell kind of slides in to being that 6th-man defensive specialist, and you have Ivey and Halliburton as your backcourt for the future. You possibly trade Fox for Simmons. You possibly trade Fox for, I don't know, Domantas Sabonis, somebody like that. and you really solidify your backcourt for the future. And oh my god, Jaden Ivey and Halliburton together, that would just be the highest basketball IQ under like 23-year-olds in the league. All right, next up we have the San Antonio Spurs at 6. We don't normally see them picking this high, but I think they would go Shaedon Sharpe here. Possibly have him and DeJounte Murray for the future. We don't know if they're going to move DeJounte Murray. If Shaedon Sharpe were on the board and maybe Jalen Duren was here, I could see them going like a Johnny Davis or Benedict Mathurin. I think Shaedon Sharpe is a no-brainer here, and I think they'd be very happy if he fell to the 6th overall pick. Like when I eventually come out with my big board, I know I'm going to have Sharpe, Ivy in front of Jalen Duren. I possibly might have Johnny Davis in front of him as well. And speaking of Johnny Davis, this just seems like a Chris Duarte type pick for the Pacers at 7. Getting one of the more talented wings in the draft who's just been blowing out and becoming a superstar at Wisconsin right now. He's been balling out in the Big Ten. They're probably going to move on from LeVert eventually in the offseason. I don't know what's going on with Brogdon. Maybe they look to get their next point guard in like a Ty Washington or somebody like that. But I think with Warren and LeVert possibly going, get more wings, slide in Duarte in this pick here, and you really can't go wrong with wings. You got it, Benedict Mathurin, Johnny Davis, or Keegan Murray. I think they would go Johnny Davis here and run with that wing duo of Davis and Duarte. 8th overall pick in the draft, we have the Pelicans, another team that can maybe use a point guard. And they let Lonzo Ball walk. I don't know why they did that. We all kind of knew that was like a bad idea when it happened. Devontae Graham, I don't know if he could be the long-term guy next to Zion Williamson to really propel them into a championship caliber team. First, we need to see Zion back on the floor, or even a playoff caliber team, you know? So they could go bunch of wings. I don't know if Nickeil Alexander-Walker also is kind of the long-term fit, so they could go Mathurin, they could go Jaden Hardy. Keegan Murray would be tough to play with Zion and Ingram. They kind of went with Trey Murphy to be in that role, like that would Murray, I think, would be in. We haven't seen Zion, so we don't know how any of these players would be. I honestly could see them going Ty Washington here and taking a point guard. They lack that point guard. I don't know what's going on with Kyrie Lewis. He's been battling with injuries, hasn't really shown that he's been good enough to be a lottery pick. I was a big fan of him coming out of Alabama. Man, they're in a tough predicament. They're a team that could also use some big man depth, but it's not a great big man depth class. Maybe that's why they go Keegan Murray, man. I'm sure they would love Jalen Duren as well. I don't know, though, because Valanciunas say stuff like their 3rd best player. I think they'd probably go best player available. I think for them, that would be Benedict Mathurin. They get that scoring off the bench, something they do need. All right, with the 9th overall pick, I think Keegan Murray is great value here. They need young players, so I don't want to see the Blazers make the playoffs. Then they don't get their 1st round pick. It would go to Chicago from the Larry Nance market and 3-team trade from the offseason. You get Keegan Murray, could be a good shooter for you. We'll see what they do with Lillard, if Nurkic, they move on from him, and McCollum. If Anthony Simon's going to have a much larger role next year, Nasir Little as well, add to that young core, which you desperately need to do. So we're on the clock here at 10 with the Wizards, a team that could look to move this pick. They want to package this with one of their players like KCP, Kuzma, Dinwiddie, who are under contract. Maybe try to land a big fish in the offseason to pair up next to Bradley Beal. I know they've been interested in John Collins and Domantas Sabonis and Jeremy Grant. I think they could go for their next point guard. I mean, there's a good chance Dinwiddie gets moved. Him and Beal have not been gelling together. There have been some reports out of the locker room that it's just not working out. Ty Washington could seem like a good fit for them because, their backup point guard, Aaron Holiday, he's kind of fallen off since Indiana, which is a shame. Around that, so no really long-term guys there. Ty Washington makes a ton of sense. Oh my goodness. The Lakers at this current moment would have the 11th pick in the 2022 draft. Crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I think the Lakers will eventually make the playoffs, probably from the play-in tournament. So I don't see the Memphis Grizzlies having this lottery pick, but oh my god, they're going to be possibly a top 4 seed and have this lottery pick for this mock draft. That is kind of crazy. Even though they don't really need any more depth, but they want to go, I think, for that boomer bust guy, especially because they're good enough where if they had this pick, they don't need to hit on this pick. I think you can go for somebody with an extremely high upside, could also be high bust potential, which is a big risk, but you can afford it. You have so much depth on this roster, and you can also package this to maybe make a bigger trade to land maybe that second superstar, because Morant's eventually gets that superstar level, and maybe you could draft a guy, trade for a guy that's very good as well. I'm throwing out somebody by the name value of Bradley Beal or Jaylen Brown. If they were to become available, you might have the assets to get it done. So I think that guy would be Jaden Hardy. Not been playing all that well this year in the G League, for the G League Ignite. Kendall Brown, probably a better pick though. I don't know. I'm going for the high potential. Or AJ Griffin. I think that they take Jaden Hardy or AJ Griffin. I'm going to say they take Jaden Hardy just because I think they can risk it. But Hardy is not helping his stock. He might not even be a lottery pick on draft night when we all thought he could be a top 3 pick going into the year, which is a shame. So we have my New York Knicks up next. Back in the lottery. 1 year out of it, and we're right back into it. The Knicks are a team that also has a ton of depth. I'm sure this team is going to look different at the deadline. At least I hope it does. So I think they're a team that could also look to take some high upside guys. They're a team that needs a point guard. There's some very good point guards in this draft still available. I mean, I don't think this is a great point guard class, but I think that like Washington, who already went, Montero, Chandler, Daniels, Davison, one of them is bound to pan out as a really good NBA point guard. And I think like AJ Griffin though makes a lot of sense here for the Knicks. I know I've been saying makes a lot of sense for a lot of these teams. I'm realizing that. Kendall Brown though I think is really good value as well. So I think it'd be Griffin or Brown, and the Knicks would look like at like Jalen Brunson in the offseason, or maybe making a Fox trade or looking at a different market or a different type of way to acquire a point guard. And I think they would go Kendall Brown here with the 12th overall pick. Too many Duke wings, you know, with RJ and Cam Reddish. So, now Cam Reddish is off the Hawks. AJ Griffin gets some more wings. They could look for a guard to pair up next to Trae Young for the future. Don't know if that could be Marjan. That could be Dyson Daniels, who's got the frame. But I think it could be also AJ Griffin, who would be a very tall shooting guard. All right, the Celtics are also a team that needs a point guard. Like, I don't see, like, Marcus Smart, not a long-term answer probably there at the point guard. Dennis Schroeder, probably gone in the offseason. Peyton Pritchard, not really having a great second year, or just, like, maybe not, like, living up to the hype he had in his rookie year, where he could maybe at one point be a starting point guard. He could still, you never know. But I think the Celtics would take G. Montero here. But they've been playing better as of late. I don't think they would end up in the lottery. The Thunder are up again. They're a team that has already drafted, and it was Jalen Duren. I still don't think they would go another guard, so it would be more of a wing. I feel like they could take a flyer on Patrick Baldwin, take a chance on him. They could look at Agbaji out of Kansas, just somebody that's a senior. They don't need to take more of these raw prospects. So you know what? I could see that here. At pick 15, definitely. They can go for like that Chris Duarte pick of last year, you know? So next up we have 16 with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh man, I would love to see them maybe take a risk on Patrick Baldwin, but I don't know who will take the risk with him. And I don't know, I think they could go Tari Eason here, who's ranked really low. Like, I think Eason will be a top 20, top 22 pick on draft night. He's somebody that can play the 3 or the 4. And I don't know, I feel like his floor is so much higher than Patrick Baldwin. But I think like the upside is just so valuable with Patrick Baldwin. So they're going to draft him there at 16. Onto the Raptors here at 17. And I think they'd be a Tari Eason team out of LSU. Yeah, that's just... Man, he would just be such a great fit for the Raptors. All right, so we're 17 picks in. Here's pretty much just a recap of what I've selected so far. 18, the Charlotte Hornets are up. They really haven't been using James Bouknight a lot this year. I'm hoping he just gets more and more playing time. So I really like the pick of Dyson Daniels for them here at 18. Could eventually kind of play into a 2-guard down the road. Dallas could always use some more shooters around Luka Doncic. So might have them take Marjan here. Bryce McGowan's could be a good pick. Yeah, I'm going to have them take Marjan. Here, 6'7" frame. Yeah, he could be maybe what they wanted Josh Green to eventually be. Even though Green could still be a solid rotational player in the NBA. Wait, I'm silly. That was the Nuggets. Can I go back a pick? I thought you could reverse a pick. Honestly, I can reverse the pick. Sorry for that blunder. But I could see Denver taking Marjan here. The size is there. The frame. Plug him right into Murray or in between Murray and Porter Jr. Yeah, you know, I can be with that. So now we're on the Dallas pick. And I think they could still go for some more shooting. Bryce McGowan's probably is a great pick. Trevor Keels. I don't really see him being projected as a 3 in the NBA. Wendell Moore would be good. He's an efficient scorer, just maybe has to get a better 3-point shot in the NBA, which is definitely very possible for him. He looks talented enough. So, yeah, I think they can go the junior to Duke. I like that. Rockets here, 21. Still some good point guards on the board. I like Kennedy Chandler going from Tennessee to Houston. This pick is originally the Nets from the James Harden deal. And we have the Grizzlies up again with their second first-round pick, and they have another one. They're at 28. As you can see, they already got Jaden Hardy. See, that's why I could see a trade happening with the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe Tyus Jones is entering free agency, and they might not be able to afford him because they're going to eventually have to pay John Moran a lot of money. The Jaren Jackson Jr. deal is going to kick in, like Desmond Bane eventually down the line. Maybe they make a play for somebody else. So I think maybe they land a point guard here, like a J.D. Davison, and they can feel better about Tyus Jones walking. The Bucks have their first-round pick. You know, those are very rare for this team after the Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker deal. And they could use some big man depth. Definitely behind Brooke Lopez, fill it out with Bobby Portis and all that. I like Mark Williams out of Duke. And it's so limited in centers in this class that he can go a lot higher than 23. Cavs on the clock at 24. They're a team that could use some guard depth. I think Trevor Keels is just great value there at 24. Like, we already know they don't need any more big men with Love, Allen, Mobley, Markkanen, Sexton possibly leaving. We don't know about Ricky Rubio if they're bringing him back, how long he'll take to recover. Trevor Keels is a good pick. Miami is a team that I think could take like a point guard like Hugo Besson. They could take Javon Quinterly, but maybe that's more of a trade down option. So I like them taking somebody with high upside. You know, I take them a lot in my rebuilds, and that's Nikola Jovic. Philly on the board here at 26. I mean, they took Springer. They have Maxey. I'm guessing Simmons will walk. I don't know if they would take a point guard. Could see them taking a wing. Maybe they go another guard. I mean, there's still good wing value here. Maybe Drummond leaves and they take like Christian Coloco. Yeah, I'm going to have them take Christian Coloco here out of Arizona. Bulls on the clock at 27. I feel like they're a team that could just go best player available. And who knows, maybe they're a team that trades this pick at the deadline. They could go EJ Liddell. I like Rocco Prakicin still going in the first round. But I think they'd go for the 6'7" freshman out of Stanford. Him and Zaire Williams are going to be comped a little bit previous years, kind of similar size, frame. And yeah, I'm going to have Harrison Ingram go here to the Bulls at 27. And now onto the Grizzlies' third first-round pick. So this could be like a stash player for the Grizzlies. Like I think Zhang is going to come over. This could be like a Prakicin. No, I think Prakicin's coming over as well. Maybe this isn't like a Caleb Houston pick. Maybe they eventually look for another like more big man depth because Steven Adams will eventually walk in a couple years, even though he's still kind of young. Maybe Yannick Knows is the pick. I like Walker Kessler out of Auburn. He's going to get a lot of shine, especially in the tournament since Auburn's really good. We got the Warriors' first and only pick in this first round. I like the high potential pick of Ousmane Dieng here at pick 29. And finally, the Thunder with their third first round pick in this draft. That is going to the from the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, the Thunder, I think, probably Jeremy Schoen has to go in the first round, and that's why I'm going to put him here. Been really good for Baylor. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it off here. So this is my pre-2022 NBA trade deadline first round mock. Yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. I'm glad Fanspo has this updated because they have the best mock draft simulator around. So yeah, let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. Did you like the pick I made for your team? And like I said, after I do like all the rebuilds for the trades at the trade deadline, I'll probably have a post-trade deadline mock draft. So I hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you did. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.